What's up, everybody? This is Steve here with you again, and I decided to come up with a new thing on here on my channel. Even though it says Steve the Shredder, but I've been listening to a radio station called 102.7 Jack FM, which is a radio in Baltimore, with the tagline, "Playing what we want." But here on my channel, I'm going to say this: Steve the Shredder 102.7, playing and saying what I want. And what I'm going to be doing on here is I'm going to be doing more Wrestlemania reviews. Well, I really haven't done the rest of them, so I stopped after Wrestlemania XII, as that was the night of Wrestlemania XXX. So I figure I give the rest of my opinions of the Wrestlemania pay-per-views, in which we'll be doing the next Wrestlemania pay-per-view, which is Wrestlemania XIII, with the tagline, Heat. Heat. This is actually a pretty good pay-per-view. It pretty much, there were some matches on the card that were pretty good. One of them where we saw something that never really happened before, but a couple of them there were some duds. At WrestleMania XII, which I reviewed last time, which I think in my opinion was the best, but although despite some of the matches they were not that great. But anyway, I just figure I'd just get back to the rest of my WrestleMania reviews, and here we're going to be doing WrestleMania XIII, so here we go. We'll just skip the free-for-all match, or aka the dark match, which is Billy Gunn against Flash Funk with Tracy and Nadine, and Billy Gunn, who I think around that time was called Rockabilly, or I may be wrong. I'm just answering a message from somebody. Alright, so anyway, now we gotta kick off our opener at WrestleMania XIII, which was the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match to determine the #1 contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championship. And the Tag Team Champions are, of course, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. But in this match, we have the new Blackjacks. Blackjack Wyndham, or aka Barry Windham. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, that was another one. That was Barry Horowitz. I think it was somebody else. Barry Windham was also known to us as, in that time, the Stalker. Kind of a jobber, I don't really know, but he was alright. And Blackjack Bradshaw, aka John Bradshaw Layfield, or simply Bradshaw. The Godwins, Henry and Phineas, is around the time they started their heel turn. And Doug Furnace and Philip LaFawn, and the Headbangers. Headbangers were making their debut around this time. You know, this was not a bad opener, but I don't think a lot of people were pulling for the Headbangers to win this, and they did, so they become the #1 contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championship. So, a pretty good opener, I can just say that. Alright, now we just move on to the next match. Now, I really think a lot of people didn't really care for this match, but, you know, it wasn't all that bad, I'll just say it. And that is Hunter Hearst Helmsley, or Triple H. No, we skipped it, I'm sorry. The Intercontinental Championship match, Rocky Maivia, or aka The Rock, defending his title against the Sultan. The Sultan was not really a character that hung around a while. We also knew him as Rikishi. The Sultan was just something that he did around that time, then that gimmick dropped, and he became Rikishi. Or Rikishi, Patu, anything like that. Patu, I think it is. But The Rock retains his title. The Sultan also had Bob Backlund with him as well, and the Iron Sheik. So there you go. Now we can move on to the next one. Now, these two had a match at the '97 Royal Rumble as well, and they had a pretty good rivalry going around. And that is, I can say it finally, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, along with Chyna, against Goldust with Marlena. Now, Chyna, you remember when she was debuting, then she grabbed Marlena and she always shook her like a rag doll. I'm sure a lot of people remember that. I mean, that was just, you know, it may be funny to some people, but, you know, it was rated PG in that time, and just seeing that, you know, again, it just was just a little bit funny. But I remember she always did that. I remember watching it, I couldn't believe she really did that. And there you go. So, Hunter Hearst Helmsley wound up winning the match after that. And now we just move on to the 5th match, where we have the WWF Tag Team titles on the line. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, a memorable tag team, against a tag team that was just really, this in my opinion is an unlikely tag team because of the way that this one was, and they just were just a tag team for probably a couple matches and that's it. Vader and Mankind, along with Paul Bearer. Yeah, this was, in my opinion, an unlikely tag team, but the match ended in a double count out, as we pretty much knew that Owen Hart and the Bulldog would win just because it just seemed appropriate that they win, as Vader and Mankind just a unlikely tag team. There you are. So this match was definitely, it was long, it was 16 minutes, but with it ending in a double count out, that pretty much killed it. Alright, now we move on to the next match. Now, this, as everyone knows, this was the match where we saw something happen that we've pretty much never seen happen before, I think. Now, everybody remembers when Bret Hart returned in 1996 at Survivor Series to take on Stone Cold Steve Austin, in which pretty much both of them at Survivor Series got some cheers. Well, Bret Hart, I think, got more cheers, but Stone Cold got a mixed reaction at Survivor Series. But for this match at WrestleMania, both of these, well, pretty much Stone Cold got more cheers than Bret Hart. Bret Hart got pretty much a mixed reaction because he was pretty much turning heel at the Last in Your House in 1996 when he faced Psycho Sid for the championship, and he assaulted Shawn Michaels after the match because of him interfering. Although I think some people cheered for Bret Hart doing that to Shawn Michaels, but still, well, Shawn Michaels was still a face in that time, but Hart was pretty much a tweener, face and heel, I guess. Then came the 97 Royal Rumble, in which Bret Hart eliminated Stone Cold from the match, but the referees did not see it, and Stone Cold came back in, and he eliminates Bret Hart. So then we just move on to, like, In Your House, which is the Final Four or whatever, and Bret Hart wins the championship, but loses it the next night on television to Psycho Sid, and now he faces Stone Cold at WrestleMania in a submission match. And like I said again, Stone Cold pretty much got a bunch of cheers, while Bret Hart got a mixed reaction. Some cheers, but pretty much a lot of boos as well. And we also have Ken Shamrock as a special guest referee. Now, this match was probably the best one of the night, I have to admit. You know, Stone Cold, who gets hit in the head with the ring bell, and Bret Hart puts him in the sharpshooter, and he's bleeding from the face, and you remember the infamous face where he's going like that, and he's trying to reach the ropes, but he just can't get out of it. And he never did give up. He just pretty much just passed out, and they just called the match just like that and made Bret Hart the winner. But Bret Hart still was not done with Stone Cold by trying to put him in the sharpshooter again, but Ken Shamrock pulls him off by giving him like a belly-to-belly suplex, kind of, or a German suplex almost, but not quite. So he just leaves the ring and gets a bunch of boos from the crowd, and that's where we see the first ever double turn, where Bret Hart turns heel officially and Stone Cold turns face. First time ever that something at WrestleMania like that would happen, where two people would turn just like that, have a double turn. Yeah. But again, like I said, it was a very good match. It was very long, well, 22 minutes, but still, it definitely was pretty good. So there you are. Now we just move on to our next one, the Chicago Street Fight match. This was a pretty good match, too. I think this was better than the opening match, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match, and that is the Legion of Doom, Hulk and Animal, and Ahmed Johnson against the Nation of Domination. Farouk, Rush, and Savio Vega, along with Wolfie, DJ Ice, D'Lo Brown, and Clarence Mason. You know those guys that were like rapping the Nation of Domination theme, which I think was a complete waste, because the Nation of Domination theme was pretty much good just the way it was, with it going Nation of Domination. But when they had to add the rap music in there, that killed it. But still, the Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson, the good team, the babyface team, gets the win, and there you are. And that just leads us to our main event, a no disqualification match for the WWF Championship. The champion, Psycho Sid, versus the challenger, The Undertaker. Now, let's just start with pretty much the entrance of The Undertaker. The entrance of him was amazing. It really was. He got a really good reaction from the crowd, good amount of cheers. Psycho Sid got about pretty much 80% of boos and 20% of cheers, I guess. I know some people were cheering for him, but The Undertaker's entrance, in my opinion, pretty much blew it away. As The Undertaker was dressed in his old attire with his gray gloves and his gray boots, that he used to wear back in the 90s from 1990 to 1994. And it was pretty good seeing him wearing that because I remember watching this on pay-per-view and I was pretty much blown away and I was like, I can't believe he's wearing those clothes. Because I used to call them clothes and that I really did call them attire or anything like that. I just called them clothes, but no difference. So anyway, and then but pretty much when he when he puts on the lights when he goes like that, but instead of going like this, he just goes like that, and the lights come right on. I think it just would have been a little bit better if he just would have did it that way, just instead of putting his hands up. Same thing at SummerSlam 1994 when he returned to face the Undertaker, Brian Lee. Instead of just going like that, I just prefer it better when he goes like that. So, and we also have Shawn Michaels on commentary along with Jerry the King Lawler, Jim Ross, and Vince McMahon. And just as this match is just getting ready to begin, here comes Bret the Hitman Hart bitching and complaining that he is not in the main event because of the things going on. So he says to Shawn Michaels, first of all, you phony faker, that you just take your pussyfoot injury and whatever you do, stay out of this match. And that pretty much has settled it right there that he was a heel, definitely. Then he's saying The Undertaker, and for you, just want to let you know I know he didn't say that, when you slammed that door on my head, you slammed the door on our friendship. And Shawn Michaels laughing. He's like, your friendship? I can't remember the last time Bret was anybody's friend. That was funny. And then he goes to Psycho Sid, he's like, and you? And he's just like, me? That's funny. Yeah. And just saying to him about him being the champion and saying that he's the best there is, best there was, best there will be, and he gets power bomb. And Shawn's saying, that's what you get for running your mouth. Yeah. So now the match begins, and now we'll just move on later. And now this was good. It almost lasted longer than Bret Hart and Stone Cold. It was 21 minutes, and back and forth this was going, and then near the end, Psycho Sid is going for the power bomb, but here comes Bret for the third time interrupting. The second time he hit Psycho Sid with a chair and got him out of there, and then here he comes for the third time, and we hear Shawn Michaels say Jesus on there. And with it being, I think it was rated PG, or it may have been 14 for pay-per-views, I don't know. But him saying that, that was just, I didn't really expect him to hear him say that. So he takes Psycho Sid and hits him on the rope, and The Undertaker gets the tombstone 1, 2, 3, and he is the new champion for the first time being a champion since 1991. Yeah, because he had last won the championship at Survivor Series 1991 from Hulk Hogan, and he had not been a champion ever since that time, which is just really strange. For an underrated wrestler like him, should at least been a champion for at least, he should have been a champion for at least a year, and he pretty much was never a champion for a year, and I think that pretty much was disappointing. But he was a 3-time WWF champion. He won from Hulk Hogan, then Sid, and then he won it from Stone Cold, and later in '99, and lost it again back to Stone Cold. Then he became the Undisputed Champion, as you know, back in 2002 when he beat Hogan, then lost it to The Rock. And and I know he was a World Heavyweight Champion as well, but never an Undisputed Champion again, so there you are. So as for the ending of the match, that's really it. The Undertaker just poses in the ring, gets down on his knee, and holds the belt up, and that's the end of the pay-per-view, and there you are. But out of a 10 rating for this pay-per-view, now like I said, there were some good matches, which were The Undertaker and Sid, then Bret Hart and Stone Cold. The opening match, like I said, was pretty good. And just the Owen Hart and British Bulldog match, in my opinion, was not all that great. And the Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson was pretty good. So for out of 10, I'm going to give this pay-per-view, I will give it a 7.5, because I really enjoyed the main event. I enjoyed seeing The Undertaker win, but just Owen Hart and the Bulldog against Vader and Mankind was just, could have been a little bit better. And the Rock and Rocky Maivia and the Sultan was not bad. And that's just really it. And there you go. So that's it for WrestleMania 13. That is my review of that. I hope you all enjoyed. So please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. It is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And I will see you with my WrestleMania 14 review.